So, you got the Captain Vietnam Blu-ray. You screwed up. You knew what you did was wrong, and yet you did it anyways. In all seriousness, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch this special features, whether it's online or whether it's on the physical Blu-ray. In any case, let's start with this segment, Captain Vietnam, head to toe. Today we're going to be discussing the wardrobe of Captain Vietnam. If you'll notice, for most of the movie he's wearing one outfit. So let's begin. The hairstyle of Captain Vietnam, it's a bowl cut because it's a very convenient haircut. I just wake up and I go about the rest of my day. I don't have to brush it, I don't have to wash it, except for when I shower, theoretically. And there's a boyish charm that comes to it, you know, and that's the whole point of Captain Vietnam's character. I mean, think about it really. The whole message of Captain Vietnam is discussing about Asian Americans and whether they have to change, should they have to change themselves to conform to this new world that their parents immigrated into and the new world which they were born into, or do they keep some part of themselves or every part of themselves? And every detail of Captain Vietnam's wardrobe, it's coming down to this basic clash of two worlds, essentially between, you know, black and white, between the West and the East. I think if you notice, every part of this piece of wardrobe, it's meant to tie right back into that basic question, that basic conflict that's inside Captain Vietnam. You see his white shirt, his shirt that shows muscle versus his black pants. Obviously, you know, Captain Vietnam has spent time building himself up. He's a guy who likes to improve himself. I mean, you hear it right in the beginning of the film from his dad.
Be the best you can be.
And of course, Captain Vietnam would like to stick to his dad's words, but obviously, you know, sometimes the world doesn't give Captain Vietnam the opportunity to be the best that he can be, to show off his talents. Again, black versus white. You see this contrast between two worlds. And where these two worlds meet, they're in Captain Vietnam's shoes, which is probably the piece of the wardrobe that has the most detail to it, mostly because they're the actual shoes that I wore throughout all of middle and high school. And they're off-brand, or they're not even off-brand, they're just a different brand. They're an old person's brand. This shoe is perfectly designed entirely just for comfort. You don't get any clout from these shoes. This is the shoe that you would see your grandpa wear if he were the type to go and walk for 5 minutes every day. On top of that, it's Velcro, you know, and just like me, and just like Captain Vietnam, these shoes, they're meant to be pretty easygoing, they're meant to be comfortable, and they don't adapt to the world. Because what is, you know, one of the first steps that you take into being an adult, it's learning to tie your shoes. Because in the real world, in the adult world, every kind of footwear is either a slip-on or, more commonly, it has shoelaces. You see it on military boots. You see it in dress shoes. You won't find any shoe that doesn't have laces. It's going to be very few. Yet, here Captain Vietnam is. He's a rarity in the world. And yet, the world doesn't really give appreciation for that. So this is where the middle ground meets between black and white. They're gray shoes. You know, he's torn. This is the conflict right here. Because you don't go outside the house without shoes and without socks and without any kind of foot protection. You can't get up and get out there. Granted, you can't get up and get out there currently now with our pandemic, but you get my point. You need shoes to get out into the world and strike at opportunity. And yet, Captain Vietnam here, he's using the most comfortable shoes, not the shoes that fit the situation the most. You'll see a very specific segment where Captain Vietnam breaks away from this design where it's just black hair, white shirt, black pants, and gray shoes. And that's going to be probably the segment you notice where he's just wearing a bunch of different colors, he's wearing a bunch of different types of shirts, all to try to blend in with his environment, but he doesn't really make it. In fact, he's rejected constantly no matter how he looks. I think that you didn't notice that segment before, you will now. And just, you know, how often Captain Vietnam was trying to change himself until he gets to the point where he just sticks with this one design. Anyways, thank you for watching this segment of Captain Vietnam, head to toe. If you'd like to watch more and you're watching this online, you could probably click somewhere around here, or if you're watching this on the physical copy of your Blu-ray, feel free to click to the next special feature segment where we'll be discussing shields and exactly how I made the shield for Captain Vietnam, such as right here. Thank you once again for watching. I hope you have a good day and stay safe.